What's up, everyone? My name is Darius, aka The Chosen One. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some spoken word. Um, I'm going to be talking about the word, I'm going to be talking about common sense. More or less, not the word, but common sense in general. I feel that in today's society, we need people to speak more positively about, others, about, events that are recently occurring. We need people out there that are more of a positive nature besides the ones that we have out that are negative all the time. So, I I'm gonna try to speak as clear as I can, um, and I'm gonna try to be as accurate as possible with some of the things I'm gonna be talking about. I will be recording a second video. My second video will be about knowledge. This will be episode 1, part of my series, The Spoken Word. And I just hope that you guys really enjoy the words I'll be sharing with you today. I will be, I'm going to be speaking on a very tough topic because it's not really something that people really talk about, nowadays. I feel that it's something that the world needs to hear because with events that are recently occurring, like the whole thing with George Zimmerman and with Trayvon Martin, I feel like people need to, you know, stop focusing on the negative and start focusing on the positive. I have been always taught that death is not a time for sorrow, but a time for celebration because you celebrate everything that person stood for in your life and what they meant to you, and that death is something that brings everyone together, regardless or you're Christian, non-Christian, you're a believer, non-believer, it doesn't matter. You know, let's take a look at 9/11. When that event happened, it brought the whole entire nation together. So I believe that this event with George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin is something that can bring the world together in peace. And I want to try to define to some people my opinion of what I believe, matters a lot in today's society, and how if we exercise just a little bit of common sense, we can try to prevent some things from happening. So, okay, so when you stop and think about common sense, it's not something that people just gravitate straight towards. Common sense is something that you either have or you don't have. It's either or. So common sense is not something that a lot of people have. In modern England, during the days of the 13 colonies, a person who didn't have common sense they called a fool. You know, Webster's dictionary defines a fool as an empty-headed, silly, or stupid person. So what I want to know today is that a good definition to define some people in today's society that decide that some of the things that they're going to do or say is okay? Let's take the whole George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin situation. When he decided to get out of the car and pursue Trayvon Martin, that was not a very wise decision. Because one, you're disobeying police officers and you're purposely going after him after they told you to stay in the car, which no one ever pays attention to now. They more gravitate towards what's currently being said. So that he didn't exercise common sense. Common sense would have said to stay in the police car, so that way you would at least be, you'll be fine. You won't be considered a defiant person. So, Webster's dictionary defines common sense as ordinary good sense and judgment. Originally, the power uniting mentally the five senses, ordinary understanding. So, basically, something that is common sense is something that's ordinary, that's accepted by everyone. That's a good term definition of it. I like the definition, but in my opinion, I believe that the term can be defined a little deeper. And the only way that we can get the gist of what common sense really is by breaking down the two words. You have the word common, and then you have the word sense. So when you break down those two words, common is defined as something that is widely, generally known, shared by all. So common sense is something that's shared by everyone. George Zimmerman didn't use common sense when he got out of the police car and pursued Trayvon Martin and decided to empty 2 rounds on Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin, and we can even look at it in this way too, because I don't want to just be biased just towards Trayvon Martin, but Trayvon Martin didn't exercise common sense either because he was outside with his hood on his head. I don't know why today's society, and I only speak for myself, I don't know why today's society feels that we should wear a hood. I was always taught that a person who wears a hood over their head is a person who doesn't want to be seen. They are a person who wants to hide. And I feel that as an African American, a very, popular African American, we have no reason to hide. If you aren't ashamed of who you are or aren't ashamed of your person, you have no reason to hide. So why wear a hood over your head, hiding yourself from others? So, common sense is something that is practical. Common sense comes from the Latin word sensus communis. So it takes the senses and it's basically utilizing all 5 of the senses. That's what common sense really is. It's utilizing all 5 of the senses. I feel that if Trayvon Martin had been aware of George Zimmerman and how he reacts towards people in the neighborhood and everything that had been happening and kept him on events, then he could have looked out for George Zimmerman. That would have been common sense. But I also feel that common sense for George Zimmerman would have been to do what the police say and stay in the car. He said that he was attacked. Well, then if you were attacked, common sense says to stay put in the car so you don't get attacked. Every day, people choose not to use common sense. We act foolish. There's not one person on the face of the earth who can say that they have never acted foolishly in a situation. They have never done anything wrong. That's impossible. Today's society would not be the way it is if people didn't react foolishly. For instance, let's take the whole thing with the Coney 2012. The person who funded the group The Invisible Children, he acted foolishly on a day where he knew the world was looking at him. Common sense would have told him to take it easy and to not go overboard. Now you've got the media's attention. Now that you have the media's attention, do something about it. Instead of acting foolishly and walking down the street bare naked, acting crazy. That wasn't right. And when you stop and think about common sense is the first basis of knowledge. And you can check this for accuracy. But common sense, without it, you really wouldn't be able to utilize knowledge at all. People have book smarts and then people also have common sense. In order to survive in today's society, you need both. I know growing up, I've always had common sense, but I never had the book smart. As I started to get older, I realized that, okay, I can't just have common sense alone. I need a book smart too. So I started reading a lot more, doing a lot more math, and now here I am, a 23-year-old in college, and doing the best that he can. If I had done it a little bit earlier, I would have already graduated. So, Webster's dictionary defines knowledge as a range of information, something learned and kept in the mind. So with common sense, it is something that is already in the mind, something that is already there, something you already know. Without it, really, what can you do? The only thing you can do is say, okay, well, with just common sense alone, it's not enough to survive. You gotta have knowledge. What I would like to see in today's society is more of a use of both. We need to take the things that we learn in school and we also need to apply it with common sense. It's not enough to just go to school, learn your ABCs, but then you don't read. It makes no sense to take everything you learn in school and never apply it. A lot of people know that application is one of the greatest things when it comes to education. When you're teaching a student, you want them to apply. As a teacher myself, I would like to see a lot more students apply the things they that you know they learn, because it's very useful in today's society. But not to just apply what they learn, but to also apply common sense. I will start breaking down more about knowledge in episode 2 of my series, The Spoken Word. But like I said, this is going to be a series that's not more or less based on just knowledge itself, but also based on some biblical teachings and stuff like that too. The things I want to share, and I don't want to just share it on just a non-spiritual basis, but also on a spiritual basis. You see, if you want to stop and look at it from a spiritual standpoint, Jesus utilized a lot of common sense. You know, when the devil tempted him, and check this for accuracy, please, because I'm not really sure about this myself, but I remember being taught in Sunday school that Jesus, during his stay in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights, Jesus was tempted by the devil. The devil asked him to jump off a cliff and said, jump off this cliff. Please check this for accuracy, by the way. He said, jump off a cliff and prove that you are the Son of God. Do this and I will give you kingdom as far as the eyes can see. Jesus responded to him and said, how can you give me what you do not own? That's common sense. If you sit there and say, people say that, oh, Jesus and the devil are figments of our imagination. If they are, then on a common sense standpoint, that even makes what I'm saying more accurate. The devil isn't, if he isn't real, how can he give somebody what he doesn't own if he isn't real? You can't have nothing and give someone nothing. So, like I said, in episode 2, I will be sharing about knowledge and some of my finding and research I found in knowledge. I would also like to share some of my situations that I've been in, involving times where I had to use common sense, and I hope that some of these things that I say will actually help people. I'm really here to uplift people, not tear them down. We need more warriors in today's society that are all about uplifting people and not tearing people down. Well, you have enough of that. You can tear yourself down. You don't need anyone else to do it for you. And thank you for taking some time out to listen to me try to, educate everyone on a little bit of how I believe common sense could be used in today's society. Thank you.